Hello, welcome to the Brain Scrub, a somewhat improvised approach to mental health. My name is Glenn Sollers, and welcome to today's episode, and recorded just a day after the last episode. I somehow inspire myself to learn and grow and develop, and I just laugh at myself sometimes around that and the things I do and the experiences I have, and I know it sounds cliche, everything happens for a reason. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. But it seems like that's working out that way in my life, in a lot of cases. Earlier this week, I was teaching a workshop on authentic communication, and I got into a conversation with one of the participants around, do I have kids? And I mentioned, yes, I have a son. He's 21, and she said, does he live with you on the island? I said, no, he doesn't. He actually lives somewhere else, and I haven't seen him for 7 years. I'm alienated. And it just reminded me at that point in time how small a world we live in, and how people are going through many similar things that we're going through. And then she got into how her brother has been struggling with alienation as well for many years, and hasn't had any contact with the kids. And we shared a bit about the situation and how sad it is. And many people attempt suicide. They don't know what to do. It breaks one's heart to all of a sudden lose somebody based on what you know are lies, manipulations, untruths, and you feel powerless, and I feel powerless. And it reminded me of that. So Glenn being Glenn, I thought, what can I do here? There must be something that can be done, because I like to fix problems. And to top it off, I started listening to another podcast and YouTube channel, which is brilliant. If you're ever curious about alienation, parental alienation, what happens in the perspective of a child and what they experience, look up Anti-Alienation Project, the Anti-Alienation Project. It's on YouTube. It's hosted by Maddie. She is lovely, and what she shares is really eye-opening, and it opened up my eyes. And one thing she says is, it would be nice if somebody actually would have stepped in at that time and said, there's something up here, and helped her see reality. And I thought, you know what could I do about that? And then I considered, what about me writing a letter to some family members who are still in contact with my son, and see if they're willing to help, and write this kind of plea for help. And that's what I did. This morning I spent some time writing that letter. 2-page letter, very well written. It exposed not negatives, but more about what happened, what unfolded, my perspectives, my beliefs, and the importance of having children have two parents in their lives, and the importance of resolving conflict, because there's way too many conflicts out there and people don't resolve them, and there's carnage everywhere. Like, if I think about my family, this whole alienation, I likely will never see my son again. I certainly hope I do. And what do I have to lose? So that's why I thought I'd write the letter. But the other thing is that I have so many other family members that are being impacted, because none of them are hearing from my son. So they've lost a caring child, a loving child, and my child has lost a loving and caring family, and he will have to endure that as he gets older, and he will have half his family there, and he'll be missing the other half. And what are his kids going to say? So we all have a choice in this to some extent, but for alienation, I really don't have a choice. If you do your research on this, you'll understand why. Because you're dealing with a force that cannot be reckoned with. And the child has their truth through whatever data they've been fed. And Maddie does a really good job in her podcast explaining this. So I wrote the letter. And then I thought, well, who am I going to send it to? And I wrote a list of people I could send it to. And I contacted somebody. And I said to them, do you mind having a look at this letter? I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. They looked at it. And then we got into this whole messenger discussion back and forth, which was the gift in all this for me. To make a long story short, the gift in this for me was that it causes stress to pursue something that you can't get because you're always trying. I'm always trying different things, trying different techniques, going to different podcasts, listening about different things, taking action on those things. And the more we push, and I teach this in change management as well, so that's why I'm laughing, because the more you push, the more resistance there will be. But the thing is, the pushing I'm doing is only impacting me because there likely is no resistance out there because nothing's making it through to the person that I want to change. Probably nothing's making it through. I'm sure all the letters I've written, all the emails I've sent have been auto-deleted. I don't have access to any Facebook account, Instagram. I've been blocked from everything. So I don't have any perspective of what's really going on other than a few things. And I made a choice to no longer listen to my son's podcast. Stop Googling him. Stop trying to figure out where he is at, because this chase is making me tired. And this person reminded me of that this is just stress that's building up, and it's going to kill you. Wow. Okay, well, I don't want to die. I have a long life ahead of me, and I love my life right now. And then she gave me some advice around breathe and let go. Nothing belongs to you. Breathe, let go. Nothing belongs to me. Wow, those words blew me away, and she's absolutely right. I need to focus on me. She also said, you know what, I tend to be a bit selfish. And I love that too, because yes, it's important to connect with other people, but to have a sense of selfishness is good. Of course, we all strive to be selfless as well, but if I can focus on me, then I'm taking away the focus on something that's not working and just creating more stress and anxiety. And this has been going on for a while, and I have these peaks and valleys, as we all do. One can't always have sunshine. We have to have rain, and that allows us to grow, develop, and be stronger. But by doing that, and by working through things, by managing my emotions, by asking for support, which I did, I am learning so much from this. Trying is important, but trying to no possible avail, why do it? And I have a tendency, a core need of I need to try hard. I need things to be perfect. I need recognition. And here it goes again. It shows up that I'm trying to prove somebody wrong. I'm trying to get somebody back into my life so I can feel wanted and loved and like I belong. And it's just history repeating itself and its core needs, rearing its ugly head and impacting my communication, my connection, and many other things in my life, my stress levels. Is it important that my son likes me, loves me? I don't know. I guess maybe that's just when I'm putting it on there because people who have kids, they have that relationship, and I see it all over the place where people have strong relationships with their children, and it upsets me. But it doesn't matter that I don't have a relationship with my son. I gave birth to him. I did the best I could. He's on a different path. He will learn and live as I did. Many of us have been through small trauma and big trauma. He'll learn to deal with it, and maybe one day he'll reach out. And I loved her advice. And not that I'm going to not let go. I certainly hope I can. Okay, and I've had episodes on letting go before, and it's just funny. It's when one has so much attachment. Let me use I statements. When I have so much attachment to somebody in my life, it's really hard to let go. What am I attached to is the question. Because that's what I really need to let go of. I'm attached to having him know that his mother has caused much of the chaos that's going on right now through the lies she's told about me and the manipulations. Okay, so I have an attachment to, I'll show you. That's not healthy. I have an attachment to, I want him to have a relationship with my mom because they've always had a great relationship. That's between my mom and my son. It is what it is. I can let go of that attachment. If it doesn't happen, if they never see each other, that's sad. And It is what it is. I have an attachment to the fact that he's received money from my family in respect to an inheritance, and there was no condolence about the death of the family member. There's no gratitude, thank you for anything. Just took it, and that's it. And then on a podcast shared that my family likely all have Nazi armbands on, and we all hate him. So I have an attachment to, well, some anger around that, disappointment and disgust. And how dare you say that about me and my family? So what do I have an attachment to in that respect? Is it goes back to I'll show you. And this is the common theme that's coming up for me is I'll show you. I will prove to you. And I have this foundation of integrity, of the truth. And I teach a lot of people about finding the truth, not our own made up stories about the truth or what we tend to believe. And that's a big part of this. It's also a big part of belonging because I never felt accepted. I felt rejected. I felt like I didn't belong, like I wasn't loved. And he is just role modeling that for me again. It's another situation where I don't belong. I'm not worthy of love from other people. But I also have to understand the person that's manipulating possibly my child. And I know her well enough to know that there are many insecurities that she has. And there was a tremendous history of canceling out all our friends that didn't align to what she wanted. And my son is learning to get rid of problems, not how to deal with them. And with a critical mindset and to think, let's separate the people from the problem. Let's resolve this and figure things out. Which is something I stand for around resolving issues, resolving problems. But that's my way. It doesn't mean it's the right way or the wrong way. It is my way of dealing things. And I think that's kind of what's missing in a lot of the world is our ability to have these conversations, it's difficult as they may be, around resolving differences. So at least we can reduce our stress levels because conflict, unresolved conflict, leads to stress. And perhaps on the other side, maybe trying to resolve conflict leads to stress versus just, as this person said, breathe and let go. Nothing belongs to you. I will mantra that for a while, so to speak. I will meditate on that and consider that and practice that and be grateful. And this was also a reminder for her, grateful for what I do have. Grateful for everything that's going positive in my life. Again, he's just a child. I happen to be part of him back then, but he's creating himself now. And yes, he's going to bring history with him. He's going to bring our personality traits with him. But he's his own person, and it's his life. If I can focus on creating a full life for me, I need to figure out how to fill that gap that he represents. And part of it I've done through this podcast is realizing what am I really attached to. Maybe it's not me being attached to the relationship with my son. It is what does that relationship mean to me as to why am I attached to that? And by identifying the root causes, I can then realize, well, this is really coming from a place of neediness and a feeling of not belonging. There we go. A feeling of not belonging. And we all want to belong. And that's why there's been so many movements out there to create a society where people do belong. Because many of us feel lonely. Many of us feel we're doing life on our own. That there's no support out there perhaps, or whatever it might be. Or there's nobody like us out there. And then it's hard to relate. The truth of the matter is there's a lot of people like us out there. Just like what I'm discovering with alienation, there's a lot of people going through this. And it's lovely to educate myself on this because it helps me realize that It shows that I'm not alone, that people are fighting to change the systems in this country and other countries around creating healthy children by having healthy families. And my experience in the judicial system is it's not about that at all. An example is when parents divorce in British Columbia, you're supposed to complete a program on parenting after divorce. And I found out that I did it. My ex didn't do it. And it talks a bit about what to do and what not to do with children. And part of it doesn't talk about alienation, but it gets into what can lead to alienation. So these kind of things are not enforced in our society. And if we could just educate ourselves, and if we can educate the judicial system, if we can consider that people are dealing with different issues, there's generational trauma out there, there's mental disorders, which we're fully aware of, and all these different things that can play havoc into a family relationship, then we're going to be better off creating healthy children, healthy families, and an ability to work through things so there's far less violence, suicide, death, disease, all those other things that are consequences. I want to end this podcast with a song done by the late Mr. Rogers. What do you do with the mad that you feel when you feel so mad you could bite? When the whole wide world seems oh so wrong and nothing you do seems very right. What do you do? Do you punch a bag? Do you pound some clay or some dough? Do you round up friends for a game of tag? Or see how fast you can go? It's great to be able to stop when you've planned a thing that's wrong and be able to do something else instead and think this song. I can stop when I want to, can stop when I wish. I can stop anytime. And what a good feeling to feel like this and know that the feeling is really mine. Know that there's something deep inside that helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man. Thanks for listening.